You have probably seen those perfectly pink, edge-to-edge, medium-rare steaks online and wondered why yours never look quite like that. Well, the secret is not a culinary degree, it is a sous vide cooker. But buying the wrong one will absolutely ruin your dinner. I am ranking them from number 6 down to number 1. Trust me, you really need to see which supposedly top-tier brand completely failed my basic temperature tests before you even think about spending your hard-earned money. Number 6. Outohome 1300-watt sous vide cooker. Now, on paper, this thing looks like an absolute beast because of that massive 1300-watt rating. I mean, more power means faster heating, right? That is the logical conclusion. Well, that is exactly what I thought before I actually unboxed it, plugged it in, and started my testing process in the kitchen. The numbers on the box do not always translate to actual cooking reality. Let me explain. While it absolutely does get the water hot eventually, it feels like the internal thermostat completely struggles to maintain that exact precision you desperately need for proper water bath cooking. The water temperature fluctuated by a full 2 degrees during my steak test. You know, to a normal person boiling pasta, that might not sound like a huge deal, but in our world, 2 degrees is the literal difference between a perfect medium rare and a sad, overcooked piece of gray meat. Then we need to talk about the physical build quality. The plastic clamp holding the device to the side of the pot feels incredibly cheap and unstable. I constantly worried it was going to slip right off the rim of my container and fall completely into the water. When you're dealing with a tall, top-heavy device full of sensitive electronics sitting over hot water, you really want a highly secure grip. And we also need to address the noise level. This machine genuinely hums quite loudly. 5. Instant Pot Accu Slim Sous Vide. You definitely know the brand. Instant Pot makes some of the most universally loved kitchen appliances on the planet, so my expectations were honestly pretty high for this one. I mean, it looks genuinely great straight out of the box with that sleek black aesthetic and modern touchscreen panel. You just expect greatness from a name like that. But here is what matters when you actually try to cook with it. This unit is only 800 watts, and believe me, you feel every single bit of that missing power. When I filled my large container with normal room temperature tap water, I was waiting around forever just for it to reach 130 degrees for a simple steak cook. Nobody wants to stand around waiting 45 minutes staring at cold water just to start cooking their dinner. The touchscreen interface also gave me some serious headaches during my testing. It looks highly modern, sure, but my fingers were slightly wet from dealing with the water bath. The screen completely ignored my taps until I aggressively dried my hands with a towel. You know, having to completely dry your hands every single time you want to adjust the timer is incredibly frustrating when you're busy prepping other food. Let me explain another hidden issue I found during my tests. The water circulation power is just surprisingly weak. 4. Yedi Houseware Yedi Infinity Sous Vide Cooker. Now, this is exactly where things start getting significantly better on our list. The Yedi brings a very solid 1,000 watts of power to the table. Right away during my testing, I noticed a massive improvement in heating speed compared to the Instant Pot. It gets your water bath ready to cook in a fraction of the time. What really stands out during testing is the massive value you get straight out of the packaging. Yedi throws in a whole bunch of extra accessories, including bags and a pump. I mean, having a full starter kit provided is genuinely helpful if you are brand new to this cooking method. You don't have to hunt down bags and vacuum clips separately, which saves you both time and money. During my rigorous temperature testing, the Yedi held its own extremely well.
I set it to exactly 135 degrees for a large batch of thick pork chops, and it successfully stayed within a tiny half degree of my target for the entire 2-hour cook time. You know, that is exactly the kind of steady reliability you actually need for consistent, repeatable results in your kitchen. Here's what matters regarding the physical design, though. It's not entirely perfect. The top display portion is honestly a little bit bulky, making it slightly awkward to store in shallower kitchen drawers when you're done. And, well, the manual controls can feel just a tiny bit stiff when you first start using them.
3. BLITZHOME Sous Vide Cooker. I genuinely have to admit, I was incredibly pleasantly surprised by this specific machine. It has a super modern, almost futuristic look to it, and it feels incredibly premium the second you pull it out of the packaging. It absolutely does not feel like a budget device. Here is what matters with the smart features. It features app connectivity that actually works perfectly right away. You know how some appliance apps just completely refuse to pair with your phone? Not this one. I connected it to my network in under 30 seconds. I was completely able to monitor my chicken breasts from the comfort of my living room couch without hovering over the pot. Let me explain why the motor design blew me away. This unit is exceptionally quiet. I literally had to walk right up to the water container and lean in close just to make sure the impeller was still actively spinning. When you do a massive 48-hour brisket cook, you absolutely do not want to hear a loud motor humming in your house for 2 straight days. Temperature stability is another massive win here. It uses a highly efficient internal circulation system that keeps the water moving rapidly, completely eliminating any of those dangerous cold zones we talked about earlier. My independent scientific thermometer matched the device display temperature perfectly the entire duration of my testing. The accuracy is just spot on. 2. Sixfivsevn Sous Vide Cooker. Yes, I know, the brand name is completely unpronounceable and looks like a typo, but please do not let that fool you for a second. This absolute powerhouse completely blew me away during my rigorous testing phase and outperformed massive name brands. Let me explain exactly why this unit ranks so exceptionally high. This model packs serious raw wattage and heats up large volumes of water incredibly fast. I filled a giant 12-quart container for a massive family-sized batch of steaks. This thing brought the entire tub of water up to temperature faster than almost anything else on this list. I mean, the sheer speed is just remarkable. The mounting system is another absolute triumph. The clamp on the Sixfivsevn is incredibly secure and well-engineered. Once you attach it to the side of your pot, it feels like it is literally bolted down to the metal. You know, that gives you so much mental peace of mind when you are dealing with gallons of near-boiling water in a busy kitchen. Here is what matters about the interface. The digital display is massive, highly bright, and incredibly easy to read from completely across the kitchen. You do not need to rely on a phone app to use it perfectly. The interface is highly intuitive, allowing you to instantly dial in your exact cooking time and desired temperature with zero frustrating friction. The Sixfivsevn offers absolute premium performance at a price point that makes it an incredible steal. Anova Culinary Sous Vide. Look, Anova is essentially the absolute gold standard in the water bath cooking world. After putting their latest model through its paces in my kitchen, it is crystal clear exactly why they completely dominate this entire space. Let me explain the physical construction first. The build quality is completely unmatched by anything else we tested. You pick this thing up, and it just feels like a heavy-duty, professional-grade tool. I have accidentally dropped one of these heavily onto a tile floor before, please do not tell anyone, and it survived without a single functional issue. It is built like an absolute tank. Here is what matters most for everyday usability. The Anova app ecosystem is pure brilliance. It is fully loaded with thousands of brilliant recipes from actual professional chefs. You literally just find a recipe on your phone, hit start, and the cooker automatically sets the perfect exact time and temperature for you. It takes literally all the guesswork out of cooking. The actual heating performance is nothing short of flawless. The temperature precision is completely locked in, staying within 1/10 of a degree constantly. The water circulation is highly powerful yet surprisingly quiet,
ensuring perfect edge-to-edge doneness every single time you cook. I rigorously tested it with delicate fish, incredibly tough cuts of beef, and even perfectly poached eggs. It never failed once. If you want the absolute best, most highly reliable, and most user-friendly experience available today, the Anova is the only logical choice you should make. Final thought. That's all for today, folks.